Hello everyone, we are the students of New Horizon College of Engineering. I am Vikas and my team members are Vaishnavi, Dhanush, Madhu Shree and Harshavardhan. Today we are going to present you about how diamond is merely a lump of coal that did extremely well under pressure. So what does this mean? Let us see. A diamond is nothing but a chunk of coal that did very well under pressure. Known that diamond is not made in a day, a diamond is just a polished version of coal. Things get polished and more qualitative only under pressure. The coal, when kept under tremendous pressure, turns into diamond, and both are nothing but forms of carbon. This is just a metaphor that has been used to demonstrate the fact that the chunk of coal might not have the potential to attract everyone. Besides, it is not considered to be a precious one as that of a diamond. However, a diamond is created only when it has exerted such pressure. In the same way, we can relate this to our own life. You might not become successful in a day, but when you get yourself under tremendous pressure for a while, you're sure to shine but brighter. Each and every day we do many work, and every work we do has a deadline. So even that is a kind of pressure. So to explain the impact of pressure, here is Vaishnavi.
Thank you, Vikas. So before we learn the impact of pressure, first we should know that there are two types of pressures. The first type is positive stress. Positive stressors are also known as eustress, and this is the kind of stress you feel before an upcoming wedding or when you're planning your vacation. And the second type of pressure is known as negative stress, also known as distress. Distress is experienced when you are going to write an examination or you're going to do a big presentation, or you constantly feel the pressure of succeeding at something. So when distress is persistent for long durations, it causes loss of productivity, health problems, and exhaustion. So when we're under stress, even the usual tasks can be messed up pretty bad. And do you ever wonder what happens in your brain during that process? And well, being an engineering student, I'll try to give a high level explanation of what goes on. So in our brain, we have a part called the prefrontal cortex. It is situated above our eyes, like you can see in the picture, and it is the epicenter of our cognitive horsepower. It gives us the ability to focus the task at hand, may it be eating or tying your shoelace, all the usual tasks, and we do not think about each and every detail or step of this task. So most of the time it's on autopilot mode. But when we're stressing over a task, we tend to stress over each and every detail and the small steps in it, and that puts this part of our brain into overdrive. So on doing so, we disrupt the otherwise natural process. So when we stress, we panic, and applying too much cognitive horsepower disrupts the entire process. So even a day-to-day task can be messed up pretty bad when you're under stress. So stress has an impact on our physical body and on our mental body. Let's see the aspects of stress and on our physical body. So when there is a consistent amount of chronic stress for a person, it can cause many serious health problems such as cardiovascular disease, including heart disease, high blood pressure, abnormal heart rhythms, heart attack, stroke, and diabetes. The aspect of it on mental health is if someone is stressed for long durations, they feel worried, down, unable to concentrate or make decisions. They seem more irritable and angry. Chronic stress also increases the risk of increasing depression and anxiety in people. The exact mechanisms are still being worked upon, but everyone knows for sure that stress does have a major impact on mental health. Examples of distress noticed in students are pressure makes students angrier, and it may be the culprit of students who are prone to bullying. Kids who are bullies when have been prone to different factors of stress in their life, which makes them the way they are. And the Mayo Clinic also reports that stress increases the feeling of irritability, anger, which also increases the likelihood of anger outbursts and social withdrawal. Noticing that stress has such major impacts on our life, we should know how to handle and cope with it properly. And to tell us all about it, here is Madhu Shree.
Thank you, Vaishnavi. So, how do we overcome pressure? Choosing the right technique is important. When your stress level exceeds your ability to cope, you need to restore the balance by reducing the stresses or increasing your ability to cope. Too much stress can make our journey through life difficult. Now, expand your stress management toolkit by mastering these four strategies for coping with stress. Try using 4 A's. Avoid. Alter, accept, and adapt. When we go in a detailed explanation of these, firstly, avoid. You can simply avoid stress. Plan ahead, rearrange your surroundings, change techniques. Take control of your surroundings. Avoid people who bother you. So, if you have a coworker who causes your jaw to tense, put physically distance between the two of you. Learn to say no. You have a lot of responsibility and demands on your time. Alter. One of the most helpful things you can do during times of stress is to take inventory. Then attempt to change your situation for the better. Manage your time better. Respectfully ask others to change their behavior and be willing to do the same. Communicate your feelings openly. Manage your time better. State limits in advance. Instead of stewing over a colleague's non-stop chatter, politely start the conversation with, I've got only 5 minutes to finish them. Accept. Sometimes we may have no choice but to accept things the way they are. For those times, try to talk with someone, practice positive self talk, learn from your mistakes, talk with someone. You may not be able to change a frustrating take practice, but by doing so, you will feel free. Practice self talk. One negative thought can lead to another, so be positive. Adapt. Thinking you can't cope is one of the greatest stresses. That's why adapting, which often involves changing your standards or expectations, can be most helpful in dealing with stress. To tell you more about this, here is Dhanush.
Thank you, Madhu. Now let us see how to overcome pressure and stress. First, the thing is we have to stay calm because no matter what type of situation we are in, before or after we face a challenge, it is imperative to stay calm. If you don't stay calm, your body enters into a panic state. Then the stress response is usually fight or flight by our body, which might be useful for physical situations, but it as its stress is a psychological thing, it is not at all useful. And moreover, it drains your body and also it is emotionally draining. So prolonged stress response by your body for psychological stress is usually a very bad thing as it can leave you immune suppressed as well as tired. Therefore, it is always imperative to stay calm. You can do this by having a meditation session or taking a walk or whichever thing that calms you down by, like, for example, listening for music. The next one is to feed your feelings. What do you mean by feed your feelings? It is essentially one of the things that many people hesitate in confronting because when you feel sad or when you feel depressed or down, disappointed or full of regret, you tend to postpone facing that emotion or you tend to resort to unhealthy coping behaviors to overcome them. But that is not advisable at all. You have to instead face them because though they are negative, though they might seem bad, though they are unpleasant, they are a part of you because they are your feelings. Hence, it is always necessary to be able to face your feelings because it is nothing but facing yourself. And then the next thing is to process your thoughts. This is also closely related to what I said. You have to face your feelings. But what do you do when you face them? You have to understand them. To understand them, it is always better to note what you're feeling down in a piece of paper or a journal or a diary. Or you could also see a therapist to clear your mind, or you can call a friend, or you can just talk to yourself in front of the mirror if you want to clear things up so that you know why you're feeling sad. Because though they are negative emotions, the feelings which you feel are a part of you and they can inspire you to do more. And then the last one is nothing but making positive changes. What do you mean by this? It's nothing but having a positive mindset to yourself. Because whenever you do this, you can improve your lifestyle. For example, take a walk in the morning or in the evening or whenever you feel sad so that you can put your mind off from all the frustration stress of your life or the challenge that you're facing, because breaks are necessary. And that also you need to do anything in a positive way. For example, exercising is a positive way to refresh yourself, but sitting and doing nothing or resorting to other unhealthy behaviors to get a temporary sense of relief is not at all advisable. please try to make positive changes to not only your lifestyle, to your way of thinking. Over to Madhushri.
So, why challenges is important? Challenges and problems are important parts of life that gives us experiences, makes us learn and help to become wiser and stronger. Challenge makes us grow and shape us. The things to be remembered while facing challenges. It reminds you that you're stronger and capable than you think. We should believe in our ability to change and be better. I am calm and collected as I can make my way through this. I have faced and conquered many challenges in my life and I can do it again. I have the ability to solve problems smartly. I am not expected to do this alone. I can ask for help if needed. I know there is a valuable lesson to be learned from this, even if I don't understand what it is right now. We should see any challenge as a big opportunity. Now, over to Harsha.
Thanks, Madhu. I'm telling about the examples of a successful people over challenges under pressure and stress. Bill Gates. Bill Gates is now one of the world's wealthiest individuals, but he did not earn his fortune in a straight line to success. Gates entered the entrepreneurial scene with a company called Transfer Data, which aimed to process and analyze the data from traffic taps. He tried to sell an idea alongside his business partner Paul and Allen, but the product barely even worked. It was a completely disaster. However, the failure did not hold Gates back from exploring new opportunities. And a few years later, he created his Microsoft product and forgave a new path to success. Walt Disney. Walt Disney was told he lacked creativity. One of the most creative geniuses from the 20th century was once fired from a newspaper because he was told he lacked creativity. Trying to preserve, Disney found his first animation company, which was called Laugh-O-Gram Films. He raised $15,000 for the company, but eventually was forced to close Laugh-O-Gram for the following the close of an important distributor partner. Desperate of and money out of money, Disney found his way to Hollywood and faced even more criticism and failure until finally his first few classic films started to skyrocket in popularity. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. Steve Jobs is an impressive entrepreneur because of his boundless innovations, but also because of his emphatic comeback from an almost irrecoverable failure. Jobs found success in his 20s when Apple became a massive empire, but when he was 30, Apple's board of directors decided to fire him. Undaunted by the failure, Jobs founded a new company Next, which is eventually acquired by Apple. Once back at Apple, Jobs proved his capacity for greatness by reinventing the company's image and taking the Apple branch to new heights. Over to Dhanush.
Thank you, Harsha. Now, let us move on to a few suggestions which we can follow before we embark on a challenge. First one is to educate ourselves. What do you mean by educate ourselves? It is nothing but researching the topic or the challenge which you're going to attempt, because you shouldn't go in blindfolded. You should always have a plan of attack before you start something. Therefore, it is always necessary to educate yourself about the challenge or task which you are about to face, because there might be some specific do's and don'ts for the task, which is also unique, because not every task is the same or every challenge is the same. Therefore, it is always necessary to educate yourself, because without a proper plan, a proper structure of attempting the challenge, you are more likely to fail. Then the next one is to be open to adapting a new strategy whenever you fail, because insanity is doing the same things over and over again, trying to expect a new result. Because you see, when one of your approaches didn't work, then it is always advisable and preferable to tweak a little here and there in your strategy so that you could expect a new result, which is, or which would be favorable. Because always you should not be fixed in a fixed state of mind. You should always be open so that you could be a creative thinker and think out of the box solution for the same problem which you might have failed in trying to overcome. Then the next one is to take everything one step at a time, because sometimes you might be in a hurry to do things. Sometimes you might think that this does not require that much time, but it is not the case. Always, slow and steady wins the race. Therefore, go one step by step. And even if it's a task which you know but has to be performed, it's better to always go step by step so that you don't mess it up, because always haste makes waste. And then the last one is to don't not take things for granted, because we right now have a working device. We might have a laptops to for online classes. We have everything that we need right now, but it should never be taken for granted. How this is in context with what we are talking is that we should not push the things away which we have just because something did not work out, because we should always be in a optimistic mind where we count our blessings and not our failures. And hence, be grateful for what you have right now, and always be in a position to be improvising, so that even if you don't have what you want or what you need, you can still move on with it. Over to Vikas.
Thank you, Dhanush. As my friends explained, life is full of pressure and hurdles. But we should have the psychology to allow pressure come along our journey, and only when we see ourselves succeeding through it. We must have the wisdom to realize that people whom we see today might not be success in it in one night or a day. They have endured a lot of hustle bustle, and only after they have overcome all of it that they could actually reach up to the position that they are today. It is essential to realize that you should always allow the pressure to come along your way, and only when you learn to deal with it, you are able to succeed in the long run of your life. Thank you, everyone, and I would like to thank Ramesh sir for giving us this wonderful opportunity, and also I would like to thank all my teammates for making this presentation a wonderful one. Thank you. Have a nice day.